So hello there, I had a question. Yeah, I know, how lucky am I? And I thought, well, it's a sensible question and I will include it on another video that I wanted to do. Now the question was about why I don't use lamps and why and how to change the bulb. So, easy enough, it interferes with the camera. I don't use bulbs. Now what I wanted to show you is that just because we're going to service this machine and we flick the switch doesn't mean that it's not live. So, okay, that's my first thing. Make sure you unplug it, okay? I know, I just wanted to show you that. Now the bulb, some of these, okay, some of them are under here and some of them even have two, but most bulbs are here. This one's just got a magnetic click. Some of them have screws, so you may need a screwdriver to get in. Now this one's a twist one, and they're also bayonet fitted ones. These are, you push in and you turn just a little bit. And I think it depends on the age of the machine, you know. So what I normally do is I normally take the bulb out and take it to the shop so that I can get the bulb, the right bulb. Now they do sell them as sewing machine bulbs. Sometimes I've seen them for sale as oven bulbs, and it literally is, if you have a screw one, it screws in, and if you have a bayonet one, then you push it in and you twist. So I'm going to leave that out because otherwise I'm just going to take it out again when I'm off shot. Now when we say servicing machines, there's very little we can do. Unless you're a qualified engineer, you can't touch the motor, and unless you have specific tools that can align up the spacing of the join, then there's not a lot you can do. Although this machine is 40 years old and I've never had the spacing adjusted. But what you do have to do is, okay, I think a manual will tell you 260 hours of sewing, you have to give it a little clean and a squirt of oil. Now, even when I'm really busy, I only sew 4 hours a day, so 260, oh, that's I would say for an average sewer that's about once a year. But if your machine starts banging, then do give it a service, do this thing. Now here I have all sorts of paintbrushes to root around and get my bits of fluff out. If I've got a bigger bit, I can use a pair of tweezers. And I also have a latch hook for a rug, and I can put that in and I can pull big chunks out. Now you can see this is filthy. This would be my only complaint against this machine, is that it's really quite hard to get in there. I have got quite a rewardingly large lump to get these bits of fluff out. Now if I clean this properly and then I sewed some fake fabric fur, yuck, I would have bits like that again. So, and some of these modern fabrics, some of these suiting fabrics, they just produce like this black dust. So anyway, you have a good root around in there, and hopefully you'll get a couple of dust bunnies, and very rewarding. I have never heard of somebody's sewing machine catching fire because there's loads of fluff in it, but I'm sure that's a possibility. So I've got here WD-40. Now, if you were to only use WD-40 as your lubricant, then you would need to do it like once a week because it's so thin it just disappears, and you would have to just do it again. But then saying that, WD-40 I find is an excellent cleaner, and you can get it in there and you can use it to push out even more bits of fluff. So, and also you can use it on the top, and you can use it around the dials, and you're not going to upset any of the electrics or the working. So yes, I did used to think that the reason that they didn't tell you to use WD-40 was because it wasn't around when they wrote the manual. But yes, so you need to service your machine when it starts to bang. It just gets louder, and if you don't, then I'm sure it would break. Now, it's 1 drop of oil for these moving parts, and it doesn't say that you do these moving parts, although these do get stiff as well. So I've put 1 drop of oil. This is, I've still got a packet in the bin. So this is a fine quality machine oil suitable for sewing machines. And I got it from the craft shop, and it was relatively cheap. It was £2. And as long as I keep it upright, I'm sure that's going to be fine. So not too hard to get hold of and not too hard to do. Okay, I was told also by an engineer, if you really have a bad reaction to any machine oil, any mineral oil, then baby oil. Okay, but that's only if you have a really bad time of it. Now, I know, I'm sure what would happen is this is a bit thicker, so you'd need to clean it out again properly. To get these bits back in, the best thing to do is to move this arm right to the top. Now when this arm is at the top, it disengages the bobbin, and when your foot is up, it disengages your bobbin, so it does make it slightly easier. And you place it so that these bottom bits can catch. Now, neither of my machines, my sewing machines, have reassuring clicks or anything when it's in the right place, but it just is time and practice. And then you have the bracket that holds them in. There's a slight dimple at the top. You always make sure that is at the top. And then these sticky out bits are to place the brackets, so you always make sure that they're at the front. And then you place that over so it all holds it in place. Now, when you first of all take your machine apart, do sort of try and take a mental picture so that you know how to do it. Now, as for bits failing on machines, I have had these bobbin cases fail quite regularly. These, there's nothing you can do, you just have to replace them. I have been using universal bobbins on, I've been using universal parts on my machines for a long time now. I just find it so much easier. You can just go on eBay and you can just buy them, and relatively cheap. Take a while to come because I think they come all the way from China, and they last just as well for me. The other bits that can fail is the foot holder. Now, it has got a moving part. It's got a tiny wire where it can sort of angle. I've also got, I keep a spare of these just in case, and to remove them is a screw top in this machine, and it literally is a place and you put it through. Now these feet, yeah, I'm sure you've got a selection of them with your sewing machine. I don't know, I find them quite fiddly to put down. So what I usually do is I cheat slightly and I lower the foot onto the bar. So I find that quite easy. And then that's pretty much all we can do. Now, as I've said, that this machine's 40 years old. I have stored it in a garage before now, and it's got a spacer broken dented at the top, and yeah, when I'm winding the bobbin it's quite tricky. Now, this is another good thing about this WD-40, it's like an engine start thing. Because they get stiff, I do just at the top, but I don't think you're supposed to. Okay, but that's literally all you can do. I'm very lucky. I've got, yeah, yeah, I suppose because I have never paid for an expensive sewing machine, I'm quite willing to let my husbands and my son fix them. So I'm quite lucky. One thing that is on here is I do have my own hem allowance sticker, and I would put that there. I'm not going to take that one off and put it afresh, but it's just so that I have a line that's really clear for where I like to do it. Okay, so I've kind of waffled really. I haven't really made any sense. I know. Grab this. Now, whereas this is 40 years old, this is a year old, and I bought it from a local shop for £80, 80 English pounds, so not a lot. And you can see the difference. The mechanics is all the same, you know, the engine, the electric motor might be a bit newer and funkier, but all this is all the same. The gubbins are all the same, you know, there's no complicated bits here. In fact, if I took the parts out, or even if I took screwdriver out to the main thing, then you would see that it's exactly the same. The better thing about this machine is that they have given you just a couple of centimetres more just to give it a good clean. So how lucky am I? Okay, another thing I wanted to just say is that not only are these machines very, very similar, but they also are threaded the same way. And I think most machines are, unless of course you're going for a Jerome or a Viking or another brand, but it is always an inverted N. This one, the tensioner is internal, and on this one it is external. So, but that's the only difference, and these feet are the same and everything else like that. Okay, this one's got a screwdriver, and to get the bulb out, exactly the same place. You just need to undo that screw, and then it flops open, and you can put your bulb in there. And I think as well this one's a screw, and the bayonet is for a very old serger that I have. Okay, well, I know I've answered my friend's question. Hopefully you'll be a bit more confident about doing this. And it literally is, you just line it up. This one's slightly easier because it's only got one position that it can go in. And then you put the bracket on with the dimple, the hole facing outwards, facing upwards, and the sticky out bits for the brackets facing outwards, and then there you go. Okay, thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope it's been informative. Thank you.